Hello and welcome to another Amulet stream. Today, first of all, Humble Greek, thank you so much for the subscription. Welcome back to the Primetime Stronghold. Primeval Titan getting banned is your fault. Yeah, there's gonna be a ban announcement on the 9th. I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be particularly threatening for us. However, this card might go. I would not be surprised if this gets actually banned, which would make me very, very sad because yeah, I spent 40 bucks to get to get a playset of this card, and now it's getting banned. That does not make me happy. Hopefully, what gets banned is this. That would be probably the best case scenario for us. I doubt this is getting banned. I don't think Field is good enough to warrant a ban. To be honest, I'm kind of excited for it. Unless the ban is literally Titan and Amulet, I'm totally okay with it. Yeah, yeah. I just don't think that Colossal Dreadmaw is bannable. But yeah, anyway, welcome everybody to another stream where we're gonna be talking. I want to start the stream by talking about. There's been a lot of action this past weekend. Number one, Punt got top-aided yet another modern playoffs event with this list. This is actually what we're going to be playing today, so I'm not going to talk about this yet. We're going to talk about this later. So what I wanted to start with is this is what Dom Harvey, he made a tweet. If you're not familiar with Dom Harvey, you really should be. So I recommend you give him a follow. He said that this is where he was going to start his testing this week in order to prepare for regionals. And I thought that there were a lot of interesting things going on with a list like this. So we are going to talk about them real quick. What about a castle ban? We really don't care about a castle ban. Like, it hits our deck, but like barely, if at all. It doesn't really matter. If they ban this, it's kind of whatever. If they ban this, it hurts us a little bit, but we will definitely survive. Nipuma wants to turn and Garen Big are my hot picks for potential ban targets. Yeah, I think that this is the one that has the biggest target. Then this one, and I don't think this is a potential ban target. I don't think this is even remotely egregious as other cards going on. Is there reason to believe that there will be a ban? Yeah, so Wizards announced today that there will be a ban on next Monday, but they didn't say what they were going to talk about. It could also be that nothing gets banned in Modern, and they're simply going to ban, like, I don't know, like Inventory Pioneer or like Breach in Legacy. I don't even know. There's a little ones over time across various deck in Modern now. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it needs to be banned, right? Like, the fact that a lot of people, like, the reason why it potentially will get banned is because it's kind of egregious, right? It's just a free cantrip. It's just very powerful. But we have seen cards that have seen play in a multitude of decks in the past that didn't get banned. Like this, for example. If once more I said, what does it say about Modern? The consistency and being able to keep one lane hands, a design flaw is not allowed. I know it's played a lot, but its effects is consistency. It's not inherently blocker, and they're really going to be to ban consistency. I mean, they might be able to ban consistency. I mean, that's the reason why they banned Ponder and Preordain, right? So if a deck becomes too consistent, then games become a little bit more um, predictable and, in consequence, boring. So I honestly hope it's Dryad. Dryad is what takes the deck from 9 to 10 with a Titan out to 11 out of 10. Yeah, I hope that it's this guy. But yeah, so we're going to talk about like the things that the Dom was saying in his tweet. Number one, he doesn't have any explosives in the main deck, which is certainly very interesting. But explosives is there mostly to blow up things, and we can now blow up things thanks to Dryad. So I, like, to a degree, I kind of understand why we're not playing explosives. I don't know if we should take out explosives or we should take out a Pact of Negation if we wanted to take out one of our one-off, interaction targets to transmit for. So maybe it might be better to take out pact out of explosives, but like the idea is we're taking out one of like targets that don't do anything by themselves. That is the concept. Number two, we only have access to three Asusas. This is something that Dom was saying, which might make sense, which is if we have access to 12 ramp creatures, which personally I have been kind of a fan of. Like the fact that we have access to so much RAM has made matchups like John and stuff like that so much nicer because we can just take out all of our scouts and still have access to 8 ramp creatures, which has been extremely powerful in my testing. Ban this streamer for lack of Neoform. You see the Amulet Neoform decks? Yeah, that was actually a tweet to me. Like it was John trolling me, and then of course Cherry jumped in there and he said that he was actually gonna stream it, which is hilarious. But anyway, so three Asusas. Like the reason that everybody's is been saying, take it, just got an Asusa, it's legendary, and that is just what Dom was saying is just maybe we should cut Asusa, though even though that is the wrong reason to cut Asusa, maybe we should be playing less than 4 Asusas. And the reason for that is not that it's legendary, but it's because we just have too many redundant ways of ramping, and the 3 drop slot it's a little bit clogged. Personally, I have actually liked for Asusas a fair amount. Like the fact that we see ramp almost every game has been very exciting for me. So I don't think I entirely agree with this, but I see where he is coming from. Where maybe even though the reasoning is correct, the concept might be correct, and maybe we should be playing less copies of Asusa just because um, Dryad and a Scout fits better in the curve, and Dryad is literally the card that our deck is played around is built around. So not so much for the for the ramp effect, not so much for the exploration effect, but even more so for the prismatic omen effect. So like we can't really cut Dryad, right? We're literally building our entire deck around this stupid card. So it really doesn't really make sense to copy this to cut this. Sorry, that's a real deck. Yeah, sure. I'm not against streaming one Asusa. Saves me money unless Dryad gets smacked. Yeah, if you don't have your 4 copies of Asusas, then yes, you might not need to buy the fourth one. Personally, I have been liking it though, so I don't know. But yeah, so we still have 4 scouts for amulets, so we want to 1 drops. And what Dom is doing is he's bringing back ancient steerings. Even though steerings is, and we all know this, even though steerings is the worst it's ever been in the deck, basically, it is still somewhat relevant in terms of making our amulet and our helping us find bounce lands a little bit more consistently, which honestly this has been one of the things that I've missed the most, and I'm very happy that Dom brought it up in his tweet, which is that a lot of people have been going down to 7 bounce lands and I have been actually missing the 8th bounce land. So I'm happy to see that he actually wanted to bring back the 8th bounce lands, and I'm probably going to be doing that as well. Steerings, of course, helps us find our amulets, even though again the steerings is even less powerful than it was before because our card amulet is actually much less powerful than it used to be. Steerings is the best it's ever been in my opinion. It's just that there's more competition now. Eh, I think that Steerings was the best it's ever been in the Hogak metagame. When we were playing Amulet while Hogak still was legal, that's when Steerings was the best that it's ever been, in my opinion. Being able to Steerings into a Tormod script, Steerings into a cage, Steerings into an Amulet in a matchup where having access to Amulet was extremely important. Um, yeah, when it was Amulet or lose, exactly. So when we really wanted to make sure that we got access to Amulet, I don't think I think an Amulet is the worst it's ever been, like by such a large amount. Like even double Amulet doesn't achieve anything for us. um, Even double Amulet, if we don't have access to a Dryad, there's literally no way that we can kill with it. So it's just really sad. Anyway, uh, 8th bounce land, big fan of this. Third, third copy of Fetchland. Actually, not a fan of this. I have not been a fan of Fetchlands, period, honestly, in the deck. I tolerate them a little bit more, and they actually make a little bit more sense now that we have access to Dryads, so you can, Valakut and stuff. But usually the only way that these become relevant is when you fetch for them with a Titan, like when you get Valakut plus Fetchland, so you have instant speed interaction in order to trigger a Valakut at instant speed. So, like having multiple copies of them, it's usually irrelevant in my opinion. And when you naturally draw them, and you need to like when you draw them in the early game, basically, and you're playing against a Path to Exile deck, it's very very quickly that you do actually run out of legal targets. Like we have 3 fetches and 5 lands to fetch. That's it. So cutting a fetchable for a fetch, that is the only thing that I'm not a fan of out of everything that the DOM has been considering in this list. Like I understand the why, I just don't like it because whenever you play against any Path to Exile or against any Field of Ruin deck, you really really feel the lack of the basic. And also, if you're playing against the Blood Moon deck, if you cut a basic for a fetch and then you draw a fetch while there's a Blood Moon in play instead of your 4th basic, feels really bad. It feels real bad. Also, of course, fetch lands are significantly worse against Ashiok specifically, right? So yeah, those are my thoughts. A lot of things that I agree with, basically most things that I agree with. I am not so high on Ancient Strings. I think I would like Explore over this. I think that Explore progresses our game plan a little bit better. And again, I don't care about Amulet as much as I used to. So I would rather take an approach like the one Punt took, which is what we're going to talk about next. But I do like a lot of Dom's concepts here. The fact that we might be able to trim on Azusa makes sense to me. The fact that we really want access to the 8th bounce lands, I'm also a big fan of. The only thing I'm not 100% sold on is the these guys right here. Another thing which is interesting is Dom was considering, and he talked about bringing back Flash Freeze, which I like the idea behind it, but honestly, I have been using Aether Gust more to remove my opponent's stuff than I have been using it to counter my opponent's stuff, if that makes sense. So Flash Freeze only works when the spell is on the stack, right? When we are holding up our mana and our opponent plays their thing. I have been using Aether Gust to answer my opponent's onboard Blood Moon because they dropped it in a turn when I was forced to tap out or something, and then I used the Dryad to get blue mana and gust it. I have also used it to attack through Titans and then gust the Titan, put it on top, allowing me to have my Titan survive while my opponent's was taken out of place. Same thing to answer the onboard Dryads. And more than anything against Mono Red Prowess. Against Mono Red Prowess, I think this card is so much worse than Aether Gust because they get onto the battlefield very quickly, and being able to answer your opponent's cards on the battlefield is actually very important. So I do like, and I do think that this card might make a comeback. However, I have liked Gust more as a removal spell than a counter spell, so I don't think that they are literally like comparable. Um, but yeah, it's very interesting for sure that this is a card that used to see play, then didn't see play anymore, then came back to see him play. So it's pretty funny that we might be at a spot where Flash Freeze might make a comeback. Beast Within has been overperforming for me, and this is another thing that even Punt did with his lists, which is what we're going to talk about later today, which is moving Bojuku Bog to the sideboard. Personally, I have historically been a big fan of Bojuki Bog in the main deck because there are many situations where the Bog just gives you value against a lot of decks. So I do think that if you are to cut a land from your main deck, that Bojuki Bog is probably the one that you should cut. Like I do agree with that. However, I think that the marginal value you get from Bojuki Bog is actually very, very important, even in matchups that where it's not that obvious. Like even against stuff like Ursa, being able to exile your opponent's graveyard in order to deny them Embry value is great. In order to stabilizing against Dredge, obviously, if they mill a Conflagrate that would be lethal against you, well, now you can just bog them away. So there are a lot of reasons. However, yeah. So you prefer Bojugabog over the third fetch. Well, I would prefer the fourth basic before I prefer the Bojugabog. So I would definitely put fourth basic over Bojugabog in terms of value, but I would really try to make to fit this card in my deck, if at all possible. Um, didn't know this on a basis. Yeah, I don't like how this. Yeah, exactly. So I think that the bar is getting progressively higher and higher in terms of the cards that we get to put in our deck. Like basically, we have come to the point where we are slowly becoming no bad cards amulet. So that is the idea. So every card that we put in our deck actually has a very very high price. So it's interesting to see this dynamic and how like um the power level of the deck has actually gone up significantly lately. Then we have Beast Within's, and like basically the cards in the sideboard are all pretty common cards to see in a sideboard. It was like basically the Fresh Freeze and the Bojugi Bog, and the second copy of Ghost Quarter, which I find it interesting, mostly because I have not felt like I have needed more copies of Ghost Quarter. Maybe that's just me being lucky and not getting paired against the matchups where Ghost Quarter would be particularly good. But let me see if I can turn on this light. Is that a little bit better? Maybe it is a little bit better. But yeah, I think I would rather try to make room for another Field of the Dead. That has actually been a card that I have been liking a lot, especially in matchups that can become bad for us, like Ashiok matchups more than anything else. So yeah, so I definitely thought that there was a lot to talk about here, and Dom is always very very much at the forefront of Amulet evolution. So I always really respect his decision, and I always like to analyze and think about the stuff that he thinks, because he's more often than not just right. so um, so yeah, so this is where I wanted to start the stream today. Second of all, I wanted to talk about the list that. Let me find it real quick. Daryl Ayers went 5-0 in a preliminary right here, and this is kind of like super super close to the list that I was that I was kind of looking at for regionals. So we have the four Asusas for Dry for prime times, and just the one of Pact and the one of explosives, and then everything else is just like the usual suspects. So this is very very close to the list that I have been running. The difference that he's been playing with a Three Mystical Dispute, 2 Gust, and I do understand like the reason why we want Dispute, like Ashiok and stuff. But I think it's actually quite hard for us to have access to the blue mana and also make sure that we can that we can hold up that blue mana, that we can draw the Dispute and have it in our hand at the proper time. Honestly, I've been having a lot of success with Beast Within personally, so I think I might continue to do 2 Disputes, 3 Beast Withins. Also, Beast Within is excellent in matchups where you actually do not want to bring in Dispute, like John, Death Shadow. Like against those matchups, if you just cannot afford to bring in Mystical Dispute, and they are going to play 2 or 3 Ashioks against you. So being able to like answer the Ashiok with Beast Within has been just absolutely incredible. So why Flash over Aether? Yeah, I talked about that for a second. Basically, it's because Flash Freeze counters the spell for good. Basically, the thought process is people are not playing so many caverns in the mirror match, especially, and only a couple of Teleways, so it's harder to transmute for. So Flash Freeze deals with the Titan for good, while Gust puts it on top. But I explained that that personally I have been using Gust more to answer my opponent's board than to answer the Titan on the stack. So that's why I'm not 100% sold on the Flash Freeze. But yeah. This is yeah. So that was actually the list that I done that don't post, Drake. That's why I wanted to comment on it and share my thoughts. This is what Daryl 5 with, which is pretty close to what I'm considering playing and in regionals. Am I gonna? Yes, I'm not. I'm not only gonna go over the Molar Showcase, but I'm also gonna play the list that Punt play in the Molar Showcase. So yeah, so forces, a couple of forces in the cyber. I think that a lot of people have been picking up on Blood Moons, so force is actually quite important. And up to 3 explosives. I have not really felt the need for another explosives. However, the Daryl is playing the explosives over what I used to in the space where I used to have a Bailoff. So to an extent, it makes sense. Like against Prowess, explosives is actually one of her best cards. So it kind of makes sense to me that he would play explosives over Bailoff. But Bailoff is so good in some other situations that explosives is not so good against, like of course against Burn and stuff like that. So considering that Burn has kind of disappeared from the meta and basically it's mono red prowess, the mono red deck to beat right now, maybe doing this is better just to have access to more interaction. But yeah, definitely worth discussing and thinking about. Yeah, Sam Wandozer, yeah, for sure. Somebody net deck me. Yeah, I net decked dumb. But at the list over the weekend, liked it a fair bit. Did you see Keith Captain's list he posted on Twitter? He won face to face with, like the very little artifact enchantment hate. Um, well, I don't think that like a lot of people, at least in Magic Online, right? Like it's I don't know what the metagame is in Toronto or like in the face to face events, but in Magic Online right now, Blood Moon, like even the Stoneblade decks are playing Blood Moon right now. So I think that playing having access to Force of Vigor is actually kind of important. So if I were to cut stuff, which is what I'm going to talk about right now when I talk about Punt's list, I'm more willing to cut on the counter magic aspect of the deck, especially because I also think it's not easy to get our counter magic on. We have access to 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9 blue sources. And this is why I'm not really sold on the flash freeze idea, right? Yes, if we have a Dryad that fixes her mana, yeah, I know that, but usually the Ashiok is going to come out about the same time or before the Dryad it's online, and you really want to hold up the dispute and be able to counter it. So I am not sold that answering things on the stack with blue cards might be the way to go, and maybe answering their stuff on board with other colored cards, namely green, might be better. Just call the cops on these egregious net decking. I know, I suck. I suck. Filthy net deckers. Alright, so here's the list. Pandan Wine, for those of you that don't know him, he's kind of a legend. He has been playing Amulet for a really long time. He was one of the first people to put Lotus Bloom in the deck and stuff like that. So because Lotus Bloom is right now basically unplayable thanks to Field and to Teferi, sorry, and Chalice and that kind of stuff. So he has finally moved on to greener pastures. Greener. And he actually played Arboreal Gracer in this event. So but let's go over the list real quick because I find a lot of things very, very interesting. Number one, we have only 3 castles, which I talked to him about, and I'm like, dude, like you can play 4 copies of this card, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of castles, so I really think that we should be playing 4 copies of this. Especially if we're going the explore route, which is what Punt is choosing to do. So basically, he's going 4 explore, 4 gracer, 1 Azusa, and 4 Dryads, which I think is a very, very interesting combination. We are, of course, making room for the 4th Explorer by moving our Pact of Negation to the sideboard instead of the main deck, which again, I think it's an interesting proposition. Um, he's choosing to go with the explosives, while Dom he chose to go for the Pact of Negation. Both of them are defensible, and both of them, of course, are going to have situations where one of them is better than the other one. But yeah, it's definitely worth considering. Um, we're only playing 3 castle, but we are playing Crumbling Vestige, which this is the Pundit Wine special. He loves this card. Basically, it's a pseudo bounce land when you have an amulet in play because it's going to yield you 2 mana, and it's similar to castle in that it's not going to make you bounce a land, so it's not going to put you behind on mana, which is of course great. It also gives you access to any color of mana, obviously. However, the downside is that it doesn't give you mana during your opponent's turn, especially when we don't have access to Scout, right? So it doesn't give you mana during your opponent's turn. So that's why we see no counter magic being played in the sideboard, and I kind of like this. Like if you're playing Vestige, maybe you just don't shouldn't be playing counter magic. Um, one important interaction, however, with the Kremlin Vestige is the fact that we see that Punt is playing Boros Garrison and Stronghold Sunhome in the list. I explained already multiple times like the difference in power level that these cards present. Like our deck is significantly better. If we have access to Garrison, Stronghold, Sunhome, if we don't have a Dryad in play, right? If there's no Dryad in play and we resolve a Titan and we have access to these lands, our deck is so much more powerful and has so much more staying power that it actually is relevant, and it's actually something that I like a lot and something that I was thinking of doing, and I was actually thinking of playing something like this today. So I'm actually kind of happy that Punt just torpedoed the event so we can simply go ahead and play his list and make things easier for myself. But yeah, I think that I would like, if I can, to make room for these lands, because I think that the upgrade in power level, and not only for this card but also for this card, is significant enough that I would like to make room for the card. Just tune in. Did you over Scout Grazer swap? No, I was going to go over it right now, but before, I want to talk about something that I already talked about today: 8 bounce lands. In fact, 9 bounce lands. Love this. I said already that I think that we are playing too little bounce lands, and Punt really is going a little bit even further, taking it a step further and playing going up to 9. So I actually do like this a lot, and I think it's great. I think it's great. 8/9 bounce lands is probably where I want to be. If you need to sideboard one of them out in post-Saturday games, it even makes things even easier because it's going to give you access to 7 bounce lands plus the 4 1/7 times plus the 4 explorers. So you're still, somewhat likely to see them fairly often, but you always want to see bounce lands anyway, right? So, second card in the main deck: Field of the Dead, Radiant Fountain, and then of course 2 T-West and 2 Galakuts. That's how we round out the mana base. Second copy of Cavern, of course, very important against the control decks, against the Ursa decks. And I'm not sure if this came up multiple times for Punt during the event, because I only watched a little bit of his stream. He streamed this, so if you actually want to see all of this being played live, I guess not live, it's going to be a VOD, but if you go to his YouTube channel, to his Twitch channel, sorry, you probably can go and check out the VODs from the weekend where he just streamed the whole thing. And yeah, a Grazer over Scout. This is actually something that we have tested in the past, and I'm pretty sure that Punt's reasoning for playing Grazer is because of the aggro matchup. And I think that is definitely a fair reason. Like, Grazer is so much more than Scout against mono red prowess specifically, and of course against stuff like Burn and whatnot, but against mono red prowess specifically. Also, Punt is not going super hard on castles like I am, so of course Scout loses a lot of value when you have a little bit of a smaller likelihood of actually naturally drawing your castles. So that is definitely also something to consider. But yeah, this is mostly just a metagame call. You're giving up power in order to, kind of like have a little bit of a bust in consistency in terms of making it, having guaranteed extra land drops as opposed to powerful land drops. Good things are good, Chronic. Things are good. What did I miss? Oh, I talked a fair amount. You're gonna be able to check it out later in the pod. Um, ban on Amulet. Yeah, so we covered that already. It might be either Once Upon a Time or Dryad if anything of that sort actually happens, which it might not be. This might be like a ban announcement for Pioneer. It doesn't matter. Anyway, moving on to the sideboard again, no counter magic at all besides the one of Pact of Negation. There's a lot of value in having access to the one of Pact, obviously, especially in the matchups where you want to transmit for it often, like a spell-based combo and whatnot. Couple of dismember, a couple of forces, and a Rex Sage. Again, I talked about how I think that force is actually quite important right now in the metagame. Where can you find this list? This is something that you kind of want to have. You definitely want to have this list bookmarked if you play Magic semi-competitively and you want to stay up to date with like deck lists and stuff. You want to have this bookmarked because that's when Wizards uploads all of their events. This is the list that Pond and Wine used to and to finish third in the showcase, Modern Showcase Challenge. You go back to Steering Once Upon a Time is banned this game. I don't even know we do. I don't know if we do that. We might, but I'm actually pretty high on Explorer, so we might actually give Explorer a shot instead. I'm probably gonna work both things and see what basically see what sticks better. All right, going over the sideboard again. Force of Vigor because of all the blood wounds that have been seen play lately. So definitely excited to see copies of that card. Beast Within, of course, for the same reasons that I've stated that it's great. Uro, which is actually a sideboard card. As we tested here on stream, and I tested playing multiple Uros and stuff, and this card was horrendous, except when it was incredible, and that's why Punt has it in the sideboard, and it's cool. Like it's a fine sideboard card. I've been okay with it in some matchups and some specific matchups only, but I think it's really far from being a main deck card because it's just dead in way too many matchups and it doesn't progress our game plan. And if you're only looking at the front half of Uro, then you just don't want the card. And in most matchups, you're just looking at the front half. So yeah. But yeah, so second copy of Explosives, Grafdigger's Cage, which seems cool. I like Cage against the Neobrand nonsense and against the Breach nonsense. However, the Breach deck is going to be playing Teferi anyway, so Grafdigger is going to lose a fair amount of value there, but still. It's a card that you bring in and you're happily playing, even though it might not be as effective as you want it to. Actually, I think if we want to target the Breach deck, we might want to go up on these and go up on Mystical Disputes. Bog, because we're not playing in the main deck, so we definitely want a Bog in our 75s at all points. Second copy of Ghost Quarter, again, same choice as Dom, which I find interesting. But yeah, we're gonna see how that goes. Again, I would like to probably make room for another field of that before I make room for Ghost Quarter, but still interesting. But yeah, so what the Pond is doing, instead of playing field in the sideboard, he's playing a copy of Kalni Garden, and the reason for that is that Kalni is so much against the aggressive decks, so much better, sorry, against the aggressive decks than field that is. This is better against the mid-range decks, obviously. But Kalni Garden can come in against stuff like Mono-Red Prowess, against. I mean, you still bring it in against John. I wouldn't bring it in against something like Blue White, obviously, where field day is actually incredible. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting inclusion and worth considering. Dick Rupix with the Twitch Frame sub. Welcome to the Primetime Roundtable for the second month in a row. I appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Cage also good against the Yawg deck. I literally have not faced the Yawgmoth deck in Magic Online. Literally ever. The only times I played against the Yawgmoth deck has been in paper, and I played against it twice. I don't think it's popular enough to. Like, I would not be putting Graphic Cage in my deck because of the Yawgmoth deck. It's good again in there, obviously, like, right? I'm gonna bring it in. I wouldn't put this card in my sideboard because I'm trying to target the Yawgmoth deck. Jund as well as Shadow is nice. For a field, you mean? Yeah, but in both of those, matchup colony is actually pretty serviceable as well. It does work. Reading to this list, playing Grazer is definitely something I consider, but everyone will shits on me. The list is very trimmed and definitely has a goal in mind. Yeah, I mean, you are playing some worse cards, right? Like, Grazer is overall, like, if it resolves and it doesn't die, it's so much worse than Scout. There's gotten to the point where 1/5 of the sideboard is lands, yeah. Which is good. I mean, right? You definitely want to have your 1/0s in the sideboard. Your fetchables in the sideboard, right? All right, sweet. Let's journal league. Oh, this is not the event that we're trying to join. This is the event we're trying to join. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting list, but Pont has been having a lot of success with it, so can't really argue with evidence, right? All right, let's go. Put this over here. Yeah, I like this hand. If we find an Azusa, we have a turn 3 Titan with Amulet. Sign me up. Even if we have a Titan, we can pack for the Azusa, so sure, I'll take a Dryad. What do I expect to get banned? If anything, Once Upon a Time. Must be cool. My opponent says must be cool. What? My vote is for once. Yeah, it seems like the thing that might get there. Playing Amulet so long and now they make it tier 0. Feels nice, not gonna lie. When is the MetaMask supposed to be? Next Monday. Monday 9th. I was just about to say having Boros, Garrison, and Slayer is good here, then you found Dryad. Yeah. Well. No, it's funny because, like, they were actually friendly. they were they were actually friendly on stream, and now they just conceded. I'm like, all right. My opponent says they have no time. Sorry. Oh, no problem. Have a good one. Yeah, they say that they don't have time. I guess they have to go. I actually have these happen a couple of days ago. Like, I was testing the Bug Uro deck, and I had entire control of the deck of the match, and then my wife came home, and I'm like, well, I guess I have to go now. Feels bad, man. Triple man attacks me turn 2 with haste. Wrote the refund. This is broken. Turn 2. That's been able to happen for years now. Do we keep this hand? Is it crazy that I kind of want to keep it? I think I'm gonna keep it. YOLO, right? My opponent says they filed for a refund after getting turn 2. If only I had filed for a refund whenever I get turn 1 by Neobrand. So much wasted time. Is there any reason to play Titan Shift anymore? No, there really isn't. It's probably just strictly worse than the Titan Field variants. Mono Green Tron. You don't see this every day. Alright, Joshua the Betrayed, thank you so much for your Twitch Tron subscription. Welcome to the Primetime Stronghold. Hell yeah. And Scott! Scott, thank you so much for the sub. Welcome back to the Primetime Stronghold, my friend. And dude, congratulations! I was so happy when I saw that Facebook post. Gonna be you're gonna be daddy now? Woo! Gonna have a little baby Scott. That's so awesome. All right. So this doesn't really matter because we're playing it. So I guess that we already have a Dryad. So I guess I'm getting the land because that's actually Titan mana. Now the question is, what do I play first? Because I might want to transmute this. This hand is fine. Yeah, sure. I had that happen to me. I had to take calls on the LGS from my friends. So girlfriend guess I lose around. Yeah, that's brutal. For the 10,000th time, Gold and I watch the same channel. Nice. Because both of you must be very smart. What am I trying to do here? I think I'm gonna wait. I'm just gonna play my foothills and just go get a breeding pool. Oh, that's right. We're playing only one breeding pool. Whoops. Well, that's a horrendous draw. Well, is it? It might not be a horrendous draw. So let's name Giant here. Yeah, actually, it's not a horrendous draw because now if we draw a Titan, we actually can cast it next turn. That is a horrendous draw, though. All right. I do have to play to my outs, though, so let's go. I just noticed my opponent missed their second land drop. Is that true? Yeah, that's true. But they have turn 4 Tron. Bedmans will be Pioneer only to the Mirror Inverter. Yeah, that's possible. So, we explore. One, two, three. Yeah, so I can't Dryad here if I want to transmute, so I guess that I'm gonna lead on Explore. If I find a Titan, then I don't have to transmute, which is nice. And if I do find a Titan, right, so that's like not drawing a card, basically. So yeah, we're just gonna play this, stop for blue, float blue, play my land, bounce, transmute for prime time. Attack with Gracer for value. Are you running the fetches in your personal build, or are you still testing phase? I'm running one fetch, or no, one or two fetches. I don't remember what my latest list was. And we see, right? We see the downside of playing this over Scout. Like one of the many downsides of playing this over Scout. Like I would be able to clock. I would be able to spend this turn to resolve my prime time. Would be able to spend this turn to resolve my prime time, then attack the card down to 2 so I cannot get minused again, and then take it from there. But because that is just not the case, we are kind of just dead here. exile the prime time. If they have a second card, they have a second card, and I can't beat that, so. Yeah, I cannot beat second card. Alright, we're good. Definitely the cost of playing Gracer showed up there. Okay, so we want second Ghost Squatter. Where's my second Ghost Squatter? Where's my second Ghost Squatter? Am I crazy? There's one Ghost Squatter here. Is this a bug? This has to be a moto bug, right? It's telling me I have 31 lands, but there's not 31. Oh, Ghost Squatter is not in the main deck? Oh, that makes sense. We're not playing Ghost Squatter in the main deck. Interesting. So I guess that there was literally no way we would have won that game. We were at a 0% to win that game. Okay, good to know, good to know. Alright, we saw how bad this card is, so we can shave a couple of those. We can shave Radiant Fountain. One Cavern. We can play Rex Sage and stuff. I don't think I like the card in the matchup. If I see Baby Karn, I definitely want to have access to Rex Sage and stuff, but if I don't see it, I'm not into it. We cannot keep this hand, unfortunately. We can keep this hand, however. This hand is awesome. So we're gonna definitely ship the Summoner's back here. Punts this is streamlined to his playstyle. Yeah, he plays weird. He plays weird lists. He keeps doing well though, so. You probably would there to second Karn even if you had Scout Dog. No, because I would have been able to, like that would have meant that my opponent needs to minus the Karn again, and at that point I can actually they were able to get my land and my Titan because I wasn't able to ping the Karn for one. So I'm gonna bounce the Forest here. And next turn we can do Valakut plus Vesuva copy here. Alright, so we're gonna win this game. Well, I guess that we're not, right? Oh, yes, we are. Oh, punt. Oh, punt. You crazy, crazy madman. Oh, punt, you crazy, crazy madman. You crazy, crazy madman. Crumbling Vestige, baby! Crumbling Vestige! Woo! Hell yeah! Give me that white mana. Give me that red mana. Hype! So this is 10 plus second Valakut and fetch land, I guess. Boom. 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 That's kind of hype, actually. That is kind of hype. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy that. The deck is not weird, so it's power level in the first match. That's fair. That's fair. You usually go down into a 9 in most matchups. Not really, but you can. Like, you can go down to 29 and 28 if you need to. Disrespect to the scout. Let's just ignore Tron, yeah. Tron Slayers and send home with Valakut. Yeah, so this is Pundit Wine's list. Did the Dom list had Boris Garrison? No. The Dom list had this. Battlements. How much would Once Upon a Time ban affect the deck in your opinion? It would make it worse for sure. That is just, we will probably continue to be tier 1 if they ban just Once Upon a Time. Still a tier 1 deck, but a little bit more manageable, which I'm okay with. This would have board with a basic too. No. No, it wouldn't have. We only had one amulet, Sipfox. Alright, let's try this again. Yeah, we only make 1 mana. Do you think we will go back to steerings? It's certainly a possibility. Oh man, I'm so tempted to keep this hand. But it most to 6. Oh man, I'm so tempted to keep this hand. Yeah. Yeah, I guess this is why we are mulligan. Keep bottom that. Just got mailed out by Crivine. Wow, that's hilarious. Plan B, I guess, right? Alright, that's a great draw. Prime time. That's what we're looking for here. We do find the prime time. Prime time in disguise. Not draw land, kept a 2-lander, died. Fucking Shadow Man. Alright. I mean, if they have turn 3 Tron into stuff, that could be your problem. So we're gonna do breeding pool, we're gonna explore. Should I do this? I feel like I can't afford to do this right now. I feel like I just have to get a little bit lucky here. Like, if they have the Natty Tron without even fetching, they get me. Karn now kills us. Yeah, but Karn was gonna kill us anyway, right? You need to kind of like assess what you can and you cannot play around. And we definitely could not have played around the Karn right there. Now when we are gonna have a Dryad in play, now we actually can go Squatter. And we're not set back like beyond being able to catch back up. What is this? Oh, you got me. You got me. Sure. That's not something you see every day. That's not something you see every day. Your Tron opponent surgically extracting your amulets. It's not something you see every day. Horizon Canopy in Sun and Tron, yeah. Never thought playing the 6s with a bunch of lands would be so fun. Oh yes it is. Machiavelli. If you're in 2020 and this guy over there is in the year 3030. Next leveling, like, just beyond recognition at this point. Now the question is, do we want a GQ now? They didn't have it last turn, so we probably shouldn't assume that they have it this turn. So I guess I am going to play the Cavern and expect to Once Upon a Time on my opponent's end step, planning on ghost quartering them next turn. If they naturally drew if they drew the Natty Tron in the last draw step plus Karn, then we die, obviously. But this is the, you see, this is, I think this was the correct play anyway. Boom, boom. Primeval Titan. We're gonna get Vesuva plus. Well, actually, we don't need to do that. We just need to get Valakut plus Bounce Land. And then we just bounce the Ghost Quarter. Always yes, always yes, always yield. Bounce this, play this. Yes. Attack. Even if they had the Natitron now, it doesn't matter. Boom. No, Valakut was not lethal there. I guess if I had gotten double Valakut, that would have been 12. No, I would have been able. My opponent was at 20. I would have been able to deal 18. Oh, plus the 2 from the attack. Yeah, so I guess a double Valakut would have been lethal. Yeah, maybe that was better. I don't know. Like, at that point, my opponent can't win anyway, so. I mean, you're saying that's so disgusting, but it's just like, we didn't need that, right? Like, the moment that I resolve the Primeval Titan and my opponent doesn't have, they don't have Tron, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I didn't need the Dryad to be in play, I didn't need the Valakuts, I didn't need any of that nonsense. Like, my opponent just cannot win it at that point. This hand is super weird. I think it's a keep. I think it's a keep. But it's definitely a sketcher. I think I'm gonna keep it. Yeah, that's my style. I always punt, then unwind, then I wind. They were at 18, that doesn't even matter. Oh, they were at 18? Yeah, so I think that it might have been lethal. I'm not sure. Vestige keeps are the best keeps. That's funny. Probably gonna get Thoughtseize here, maybe? Which would suck. Inquisition. Yeah, that sucks. Opponent correctly taking the Explore there. Good play on their part. Some giant. Pass the turn. Double green is hard with this hand? No, we already had double green. Here and here. We drew a basic, which was, I guess it wasn't necessary, but still. I think it was a fine keep. That's kind of wild that my opponent had turn 1 5 types. That's wild. I could back for Dryad, but if the Dryad dies, I also die. So that doesn't seem like a great line. Unfortunately, this pact is probably going to get stubbed. Or discarded here. I cannot turn for Titan anyway with the castle. Yeah, I cannot. I don't have any other green source, right? Oh, you mean if I draw green source into something else? Okay, I understand what you're saying now. We can't pack for Azusa here. So I guess that we garrison and we pass the turn. Bouncing Fountain. I could have also bounced Cavern, I guess. And next turn we can Pact. That's brutal. Yeah, that's brutal. I couldn't have Pact for Azusa there because I couldn't have paid in my upkeep, and my bounce line was a garrison, so it wasn't. I just couldn't do anything. When's the next bounce announcement? Next Monday. I couldn't have gone for it. That's the point. If I could have, I would have. But this my bounce land doesn't give me green mana, so I can't cast my Titan. Trust me that if I could have done something about it, I would have. Now we get stubbed and we concede. Yeah. You could have played the Vestige Dust. Yes, but that's only one green source. Right? Vestige bounce Vestige. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I could have played Vestige, played Bounce Land. Yeah, you're actually right. Yeah, you're actually right. We die to Dismember, but that's it. Yeah, you're actually right. Yeah, you're actually right. I missed the line. Yeah, sucks to miss that line, but take this out. What land are we taking out? Radio Fountain? Vestige making a semi-complex line with inflation. See, yeah, for sure. For sure. Perils of not loving Vestige. Yep, I guess so. I just got owned. They might have Assassin's Trophy, but that's the only thing that punishes me. I think that's fine though. Yeah. Maybe we shave Evalicate this matchup? I could see that actually. It's not that we're going to ever need to kill them from 20, right? So just the one Valakut might be okay. Let's try something like this. Oh man. I think I keep this, but it's such an awkward hand. Such an awkward hand. You want both allocate? I don't think I agree. Like, the likelihood of a Dryad surviving against Shadow is so small. Too bad is almost always skilled as Shadow. Yes, if the Dryad survives. Through my opponent that has access to um, 4 pushes, like a bunch of Assassin's Trophies, a bunch of Dismembers. Yes, you do, but do you know you can play Vesuva copy nothing when Dryad is in play to get an untapped land? Yes. It's actually something that also happens when your opponent has an Urborg in play. I mean, I knew it because of the Urborg line, because, Dryad hadn't been printed yet, but yeah, I actually wrote about that in my primer. Vesuva heard the challenge for the Wireless land and jumped in. Alright. Friend who has about 10 trophies with Amulet this season is pretty on board with Punt's list, but I'm not sold on this over the more stock list that Deluxe plays. I don't know. I literally don't know. Yeah. The Thoughtseize there actually makes a lot of sense, because they fetch on turn 1 for a red source. Punished. Nice stubborn denial, opponent. Susa so good. Deluxe decides what stock. That's such a great meme. All right. Playing this before my opponent has stuff available. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Get in there, Azusa. The O1 Goif classic. Next turn we can attack them. Oh man. Really? How can you be so lucky, opponent? How can you be so lucky? Prime time, please. Would love to draw a Primeval Titan right here. Right now. God damn it. I'm trying to figure out what I can draw. If I draw Field of the Dead, I think I'm gonna Vesuva copy my opponent's Watery Grave. If I do that, I have 1, 2, 3 mana to transmute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to cast Titan. But I kinda wanna hold the Valakut in hand because of Dryad. So I think I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna play this out and I'm gonna hold the Valakut in hand because of Dryad. Copy bounce and see you have spare land drops. Yeah, I'm trying to play around drawing Field of the Dead, because if I draw a Field of the Dead, then I can actually trigger it. If I copy my bounce land, I can't trigger it. If the Azusa dies, right? That's what I'm trying to play around. But I still want to have mana, because if I draw a Tolaria West, I want to make sure that I can transmute it away. We can trade with Goif. No, because if I rip Dryad, then I can just haste it. So I'm assuming that my opponent has another shadow here, or like some other dude to block. Why are we back with Stronghold? Because I'm playing Pond and Wine's list. Yeah, they for sure have a blocker here. Also hashtag sequencing, right? So we're dead to that shadow. Can we draw something good here? YOLO. Disdainful Stroke, probably. We might get stricken here. Disdainfully stricken. We don't. Sweet. So I guess this one was good enough. I guess this draw was good enough to win that game. Sweet. I know, man. Seems good, to be honest. Yeah, it seems okay, right? All right. So we're not cutting Valagan. So what are we cutting then? If somebody can make an argument for another card better to cut than Valakut, I will consider it for sure. You folks have 2 minutes to make an argument to make me cut a land that is not a Valakut. This is our mana base, by the way, obviously. Big shout out to Pond Wine. He's been coaching me the past few weeks and it shows. Nice. Nice. Yeah, Pond's great. 9th bounce land. Okay, that's a fair argument. Swipe that guy doesn't seem that good. Probably don't want him in the deck. Oh. Cut a Titan. Yeah, sure. Alright. This is... I guess that Sanctuary, it's a reasonable argument. It is a green source, but my opponent might have Damping Sphere. Alright, I give this a shot. I'm honestly not sold that this might be the way. Shh, Snapkeep. Prefer Sanctuary over Valakut, but I can accept cutting it. Yep. Punt's been coaching me too. Yeah, Punt's a coacher, I guess. Well, how's it going? My opponent did so many things on that turn, and then they did nothing. Please no discard. If they tap up for Goif here, I think I like my spot. Yeah, they go for Goif here. Okay, so we're gonna get Breeding Pool first, obviously. That's pretty solid. Explore. Pog. Name Giant. Play this guy. Pass a turn. Yo! What's up, John? How many other Evolution Greaser Random am I playing? I'm playing 0 of one, and I tested 0 of the other one, but I ended up going with 0 of it in the end. That list was something else. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. Damping Sphere? That's kind of annoying, actually. That is kind of really annoying. Alright, Crumbling Vestige off the top. One time. I guess I should have played Foothills there. Crumbling Vestige off the top. Right here, right now. Vestige. We're just dead. We're just dead now. I've been damped by Shadow players so much. Yeah, they play like 1 or 2 of. It's not even that much. Wow, they cycle instead of just take. I guess that they have lethal anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, that was a pretty good damping sphere right there. My opponent has. Wow, still had all these. I just got still had all these, chat. Feels bad, man. Uro, I guess Uro would have been a fun draw too. I guess this doesn't really do much though. At that point. Yeah, I guess if I had drawn Uro, not on the last turn, but on the turn before, just because of the Explore effect. What did I play against? Basically, I started the game. I went Once Upon a Time. I played turn 1 Amulet, and I went Once Upon a Time showing Dryad, and then I went turn 1 Amulet. My opponent played an Eldrazi Temple and conceded the match. There isn't any Shadow Wisdom. I guess the wisdom for Shadow is like you're dead. You're dead. Yeah, my opponent said something like they said something like must be nice, and then they said I don't have time, and then conceded. They also told me that they filed for comp when they got turn 2'd the other day. So I guess that we had a really an intense opponent of sorts. This is an interesting one. This hand is super resilient to discard, but it's a tiny bit slow, and we are also lacking primetime mana. I think I'm gonna keep it just because one of our lands is actually a Valakut, which means that we're probably gonna get to do some stuff with this. Watery Grave tapped. All right, no Shadow. I wonder what the point of playing a tapped Watery Grave on turn 1 is. Like fetching main phase, just F6 value, I guess. All right. Sure. So we're gonna play Cavern on Dryad, then Sanctuary Bouncer Cavern. Alright, so we must be playing against the Bug Uro deck of sorts. Black, Hymn to Torak. Nymph. Well, I guess that now that I drew that, I shouldn't have done this. It doesn't really matter. So we're probably going to get minused here, which is fine. Then we're gonna play another Dryad. I guess that happened. There we go. Yeah, I actually got punished there. If I had sequenced my lands better, I could have played the forest, casted Dryad, then played bounce land. Then yeah, I think I'm just going to 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'll just do this. And I'm gonna play the castle, play this on giant. And I'm going to play another Dryad, and I'm not gonna play the forest. Because I want to play around. My opponent discarded the Liliana way too easily right there, so I want to play around there, a second Liliana there. We already have Titan mana anyway, so I don't care too much about that. Maelstrom Pulse. Oh, oh. Because alternatively, I could have played the land and killed the Liliana, but I was actually playing around a second Liliana. Now that we're going to resolve the Titan, this is probably just game over, though. Sure. We can't haste here. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we can't haste. We don't have Bojuki Bog. Come on, punt. Come on. I guess we're gonna Vesuva 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, Vesuva plus Tolaria West. Sure. We don't have an amulet, so we can't haste here. So we're just gonna make a bunch of sombos. Take it from there. Also, basic swamp in the Euro deck feels bad, man. Probably gonna get Assassin's Trophy, I would assume. But then the sombos will take over. Oh, I guess my opponent was just tapping green mana in order to concede. A classic move. Alright, we want these, we want these. We probably want this, we probably want these. And that's it. Gracer, as usual, seems pretty awful. We can probably shave one amulet. And I guess we're gonna need 2 lands. So I'm gonna cut 2 lands. Radiant Fountains is pretty bad. And 1 Sanctuary? So it means I actually want the amulet. Make green to pay the concession cost. Clearly, that was the play. Sure. Discard spell. Do I care? No, I don't. Take any pool. You can see it. No? Well, I guess I can see it then. Yep. Bees within. Okay, so my opponent probably has an Ashiok hand over there. I think it's important for me to do this here because it informs my decision for turn 2. And I guess that I want access to the cavern. So I will play Castle Gernberg tapped. So now I can explore and then play one of my tapped lands. My opponent is all about those just main phase fetching, you know? That seems to be the move. My opponent's into it. Grugarrot Farm. Ashiok right here would be pretty annoying, and I assume that my opponent has it because they took the Beast Within when they had access to taking either Once Upon a Time or one of the Explorers. So I'm going to assume that my opponent has an Ashiok. Maybe I should have, over the Pact, I should have an Engineered Explosives here. Yeah, so here's Ashiok, which is annoying. You're gonna plus opponent? They're gonna minus? Okay, no minus. Good job, opponent. Good job. So I guess we're gonna start here, see what's up. Let's do this. Hopefully they play Liliana here. If they play Liliana, this is just such a massive blowout. What do I think of the Titan deck that won the showcase? I think it's pretty good. Get my snow cover land. Blue to Thought Scour themselves. That's pretty good. Giant. So I'm going to play Explosives for 3 here. And then I'm going to pass the turn. I'm going to allow my opponent to activate Ashiok once. Again, it doesn't matter at all for us. And oh, I just realized we actually don't have a second field of that, so that's pretty terrible. But this means that my opponent cannot spend their turn to get back the Uro, and they also cannot play a second Ashiok. Wonder that's how good we are at drawing explosives. Rookie mistake. Yeah, it's a classic. Isn't the first one free? Is there a real reason they can't Ashiok minus Ashiok? Yeah, they can. If they do it, like, this is the mistake. Like, your deck is literally getting value from having cards in their graveyard, and you're targeting me. This is a mistake. But the value of exiling, like, my opponent could have actually gotten value from the Ashiok minus, and now instead they didn't. Like, they exiled 4 irrelevant cards, and now they made their card more likely to be killed. The point that I play the explosives and I put the explosives in play, of course there's value in minusing the Ashiok. However, the value would have been to minus on themselves, so they were able to flashback the Suro one more time. But now they're gonna exile all their cards, and I am gonna be able to blow up the Ashiok and the Uro, because this is a CMC 3 card. Yeah. And they're not going to have enough to get back the Uro again, because they minused on me for no reason. So that is the part that actually makes no sense. Boop. Alright, so we don't have access to field, which really sucks. But let's see if I can, because my opponent only has a single blue mana, so if I do something like this, for example, I can do 1, 1, 2, and then bounce and replay with the Azusa. Okay. So, play land for turn. Bounce Snow-Covered Forest. Play Azusa. I'm doing this to protect myself from Liliana, which my opponent did show me they have access to. So I guess I'm gonna bog them plus bounce land? Do I have a second blue? I don't have a second blue. That's annoying. Alright, so I'm gonna bog them plus Semi-Growth Chamber here. We're gonna bounce Tulare West. This deck is so boring. Yours? My opponent says that that this deck is so boring. Yours? Me and 114 viewers disagree with you. Oh man, I love it. I think 1101 from what? I don't know. What does that mean, Chad? Do you know what this means? I think 1100 from 1100 I don't even understand what that's supposed to mean. I'm just not going to not going to get back to them. If they want to tilt, I'm just going to rejoice in it, you know? Either play Titan or accept your loss. Yeah, I mean, it's a deck that plays on more the Eagle and a bunch of stuff like that. They did have the turn 3 Ashiok, but they had literally nothing else. I mean, I'm playing a Titan, Imprimeval Titan on turn 5 or 6 or something. Like my draw was absurdly fair, so I really don't understand what they're like complaining about. Sure, Liliana. Each player discards a card. Okay, so I'm gonna pitch the T West, I guess. Maybe they have a Surgical or something? They don't have a Surgical because they would have used it right there. We can't haste, unfortunately, but they can keep on putting pressure. The field is gone. We don't have field anymore, unfortunately. It's boring because it's easy to play and 80% win rate. Sure, opponent. Whatever makes you happy, opponent. I'm just meaning right now because I guess that we can pact for Uro. I guess that we can pay for double pact, right? So I guess I might as well. We actually don't have a fetchable for this, which is pretty funny. I don't want to pack for Dryad there because they just push the Dryad, and I just don't have anything going on, right? They push the Dryad, they answer the Titan. I already used my Titan in order to go get the Dryad, so I'm not gonna have mana, and yeah, like I'm not gonna get the Valakut triggers. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Then him Shrek versus Thanos Despacito battle, and he will forgive you. I don't even know what that is. I don't think anybody should be calling Amulet easy to play. It is easier now with Drive, but to play 100% optimal is difficult. Yeah, I mean, people like to say that. A lot of people, when they lose, in order to make themselves feel a little bit better, they try to bring the other person down. And that's why I think that, I don't know, it's kind of a stupid thing to do, but a lot of people just kind of default to that action. I think it's very toxic behavior, but like I don't know, I just laugh at it. You get an Ashiok. I guess that's actually pretty annoying, yeah. How many Dryads do I have? One Dryad left? Yeah, I have one Dryad left. Yeah, the second Ashiok is actually pretty annoying there. We're clearing the Ashiok here because my deck becomes a lot better once this card is not in play. Also, Liliana is irrelevant right now. The important thing is that when you get knocked down, you get back up again. Yeah, but a lot of people like to use their energy to bring other people down instead of using that energy to pick themselves back up, which I think is pretty stupid to do. Like it's such like bad EV. Like it's so much better to try to look at the stuff that happened and try to like draw conclusions and try to improve yourself instead of trying to make the other person feel worse. Also, they randomly exiled my stronghold, which is a little bit annoying. They didn't plus, so I guess that I'm not gonna bother about Liliana. So here, I can't really get value in any reasonable way, so I guess Colony Garden is the only way for me to get value. So we're just gonna do this. Push them down. I got your back. Nah, I'd rather just try to be a positive. Just try to, you know, look at things positively. It's so much higher life EV to look at things positively instead of negatively. Oh, push my plant token. Classic. So here I have an actual choice because I can beast within my own land in order to play around the potential other Liliana or something. Or I can blow up the Liliana. I think I'm actually gonna blow up my own land and keep on putting pressure on my opponent. When did Calmy come back? It is Pond and Wine's list, so of course he has some spice. Discarding Snapcaster Mage with a Beast Within in play. Interesting. Does that mean second Snappy? Wait, what? I am very surprised about what just happened. Well, now we actually do get to get value by exiling my opponent's Uro. So I think I'm gonna swing this at Liliana. Just because I want to make sure that I clear it, and I'm gonna attack them for 3. And we're going to Vesuva the Bojukabog, I think. You see it on Harvest List, and what do you think of this recently? Literally, I started the stream by talking about that R-Train, so if you want to check it out, you can look at the VODs. I spent like a solid 20 minutes talking about Punt's list and Dom's list. And Daryl's list. Daryl went 5-0 in preliminary. No, it's a ban for Monday. What do I think? At most, Once Upon a Time gets banned, but it's very likely just a Pioneer / Legacy ban. You are just way below his league. You just can't understand his plays yet. Wait till you level up enough, and maybe you will understand. Maybe that's the case, Hydra. Maybe I just need to get to my opponent's level, you know? Much more wholesome response to my stupid meme comment than I expected. Yeah, yeah. We're here for the thoughtful and wholesome responses, you know. You're just the beginning of the stream, so I'll watch it later. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna upload it to YouTube like I always do. Our train. So if you wanna hear my thoughts, you're gonna be able to. Don't worry about it. So confused about what our opponent just did, but I'm going to just shake it off. I mean, we have to. This is a league where my like we won round 1-0 because my opponent saw that I had an amulet on turn one and they just conceded the match. Yeah, this is a mulligan. This is maybe a keep actually, but I mean Summoner's Pact. And I'm going to Summoner's Once Upon a Time here because if we find Gracer, well, I guess Castle is just better here. It's guaranteed turn 3 Titan mana, turn 4 Titan. Hello. My opponent says, "Hey, Francisco." I say, "Hello." Oh, I think this is an Amulet player actually. Yeah, yeah. This opponent plays Amulet actually. I think I played against them before. Whoops, their name. Ugh, giant. Veil banning Legacy, please. Maybe. Seems like we're gonna be just a little bit too slow here. Mm-hmm. And fetch land, sure. If my opponent has a Titan here, I think that we're just dead. Wait, what? Why would they want to choose to pay 2 life for no reason? Yeah, my opponent has a Titan with Dryad, and I don't. I just have a Titan, so we can't beat that. Alright, the mirror. Beast Within's Forces. Ghost Squatter. Take this out. Couple of these out. Couple of explorers out. Take out probably one. No, I don't want to take one cavern. This one's Sanctuary. I'm through with Amulet, last match mill. Oh, feels bad, man. They need to make the fourth win to use castle. Yes, but there's a forest in place, so they could have bounced the castle itself. They floated green for the castle, and then they bounced the castle and they replayed it again. So they did pay 2 life for no reason. Something like that. Sure. I guess any land is turn 3 Titan with. Any land is turn 3 Titan with. Any bounce land is turn 3 Titan, I mean. Thanks to the castle. Heyo. I need to play this turn, unfortunately, because I need to Vesuva this in order to attack. If my opponent doesn't have an answer to the amulet. Oh, my opponent must be playing Punt's list as well, I guess? Or Riot, why are they playing Colony? They have to be playing Punt's list, yeah. What if Titan gets banned? What's the closest substitute? Play in another deck. Titan is one of the very few actually replaceable cards in the deck, unfortunately. Can't cast this guy because that means that we can't Titan, and I'd much rather Titan this turn than anything else, so... They don't have a castle, so I guess I'm going to Vesuva. Opponent concedes. This have been some pretty straightforward matches. Some pretty straightforward games, I guess. What do you mean 4 Golos? Played an indestructible land, just spin that wheel. Oh yeah. Summoners back for Golos. Hell yeah. Cavalier of Thorns. Wow, that's so sad. That makes me so sad. Wow, Huh. Alright. You saying Cavalier of Thorns just kind of got my brewing juices going. What if we brew an Uro Cavalier of Thorns Dryad deck? I might be into those memes. Cavalier of Thorn is $7. Never mind. We're not gonna be doing that. I think there is still a deck. It's just like for Dryad, for Shift, for Hour. Maybe play things like Blubber Airflint Tracker. That would be completely different either way, yeah. How much? $6.90 each Cavalier. I might actually try to brew something like that up. I don't think Titan's getting banned though. But it's a fun thought experiment. It was like 150 for a set. I mean, wasn't it when it was the best deck in the format or something? It was played in like some ramp decks or something. You think that Amulet get the ban hammer? I mean, not Amulet. Something from Amulet might see the ban. Once upon a time, specifically. It would be pretty sad if they banned something out of Titan when Neobrand is still a thing. Yeah, I really hope that they finally go ahead and ban something from Neobrand. It's egregious that that deck's still okay. We have interaction. I think we have to ship this. Much better. Keep. I can let Cavaliers if I need them. Thank you. I probably don't think I'm ever gonna do that, but sure. Good to know that there, if I need to ever meme like that, I can. Force. Okay, okay. Talk to me. Talk to me. We have mono interaction here. God damn it. I don't have enough mana to beast within this. Feels bad, man. Three mana. Asusa. Okay. Land. And land. So my options include... So I know that my opponent has one Colony Garden in hand. I have a lot of options here. I'm considering Beast Within here. I just don't think I can waste the force on just the amulet. I don't think I can 2-for-1 myself for just the amulet. Why did not dismember Asusa afraid of that? Because Asusa is not really doing anything. Like I need to save that the force for the Dryad. Like my opponent's getting value. Like they got full value from the Asusa. Dismembering it there or not doesn't really change anything. They already had full value. Is Dismember worth bringing in if they don't run Scout? Yeah, you have to kill the Dryad. I think that my best bet is to just blow this up. But that means that I can't resolve this. Oh man, this is so awkward. I think I need to go for it though. According to the Arena Decklist podcast, nothing needs a ban because Amulet isn't even tier 1 anymore, so I say we listen to them and ban nothing. Cool, I'm into it. Okay, so I know they have economy, so I need to do this now, which really sucks. My hope was that they wouldn't have another bounce land, and if they have any untapped green source, we actually just die. Yeah, they don't have another untapped green. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're dead at this point, though. They had a bunch of non-untapped greens. Ugh. Even if I draw a Titan, I can't cast it, so like we're just done here. Yes, me all the cards in Titan are terrible. The deck is tier 4 at best, and when playing it is bad. Magic doesn't need ban. There you go, Darset. Tell us how you really feel. Where is all this field hate coming from? Yes, it is good, but is that really what puts Amulet over the top? I would say that kind of, yeah. Alright, we just can't win anymore. I'll just pack it in. Because even if we draw a Titan, we just cannot cast it. We only have a single red source, a green source, sorry. So my opponent has way too much going on over there. And they also have the tech edge, so we actually cannot win. Yeah. I think I played to my outs there, but it just like my hand just did not come together. Which is rough. Alright, we're gonna take a quick break and then we'll be back for another league. Alright. I might even play. I might play Dom's list. Just to change things up a little bit. Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Alright, so I'm gonna be playing Dom's list next. Kinda see what's up. Alright, so I'm gonna take a quick break and then I will be right back. What do you think on Amulet of the Showcase? I talked about it for 20 minutes at the beginning of the stream, Mana Mystery. You can check out the VODs. And we just played a league with it. So if you want to check out the VODs, you're going to be able to find all the information you're looking for. Alright, so yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. We'll play another league with the other deck that we talked about in the beginning of the stream, the other list. This is Dom's list, and you're gonna see how things work out with this one instead. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you later.